Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And there's a little lady over there just laying down, catching a dog day afternoon nap. And I got Olympia over here. Had a little excitement a little earlier. The dogs went nuts, and I was, what the heck? I left my gate open because my neighbor's got to come by, because she asked me if I could fix this antique flower stand for her, because it was broken in two places. It was broken right there, and it was broken right there. So she dropped it off. 20 minutes later, it was welded and cleaned, and all it needs is paint. You can see the others here have already been painted, but they're not broken, so I left everything else alone. But I got that welded for her, and I set it out here, so if I close the garage, I don't have to open the garage again to get this out when she comes to pick it up later on this afternoon. So I left the gate open just so that she could drive right in without having to get out and use her key to get through my gate. And I says, wow, nice quiet day. The winds now are picking up, but all of a sudden I hear the dogs going nuts. So I came out and I see this white pickup truck going down my road, my private road. There's a sign at the gate that says, private road, turn around here. Now, even if the gate is open, you're supposed to look at a sign like that and say, I'm not going to go down that road because it's a private road. But this asshole drives on right through here, goes right past, and gets up to this end of my road, and there's a red sticker in there that says closed route. And he drives right over it. What a total asshole. Then he drove into the old grower section on this side. That side over there is somebody else's squatting or whatever over there. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But this side, they got busted and sent back to Mexico because they were cartel growers, and they got caught because the idiots at the end of growing season took all the stalks and stumps and stuff like that out, put a big pile of them up there about the size of an RV, and set it on fire. And they're standing out there drinking their cervezas, watching the fire. And the fire department came up and said, hey, you can't do that. And they started checking people out and found out they were all illegals. So authorities were called and they were all shipped out. All right, so some of the dogs that I've got here came from over there, because when they left, they just abandoned the dogs. So I know that they came from there because I'd seen them coming across my property before while those people were there. And I yelled at the dogs, go home, and pointed towards that way, and they turned around and went back. So with that information in your mind, you can see what happens out here in the desert. Look at the rain clouds building up over there. Nothing here. And then, of course, the winds came up because of it. But another project I did today, here's my good dog. He's the one that chased that white pickup truck all the way off of my property. That's Doggy Daddy. Right, Doggy Daddy? You're a good boy. This is what I made. Remember I mentioned that I needed some flat stock and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I asked my neighbor when I went up to repair his whirlybird, and he says, yeah, I got a piece of that. And it was exactly 5 feet long, exactly what I needed. This is 1 inch wide by 1/8 inch thick, and I was 5 feet long. I cut it in half to 2.5 foot pieces. So let's see, 1, 2, no, wait a minute. It was 6 foot long. So, yeah, 6 foot long. So I cut it into 2 3-foot pieces. All right. So this is what I did. I drilled it there and put a screw through, and then pinned it over like a rivet so it won't come loose. Then I twisted these at the same point on each one to the right, one to the left, or actually both the same direction. And then I bent these out first. This used to go straight out like that. I bent those straight out at a 22.5 degree. And then I put a big piece of pipe in here and clamped the pipe in place. And then I hammered these two into place until these two touched. And then for handles, there's the original label. He bought this at Home Depot. For handles, I took some 3/4 inch EMT, that's electrical metallic tubing or conduit, as you people know it. I drilled 2 holes into it and put rivets through, but the rivets don't go all the way through. Okay, so on this side you see the heads of the rivets, on this side you see nothing. And when I flip it over, you see the heads of the rivet, and this side you see nothing. Now that's just to keep this handles cool, because what these are used for is when I'm burning quartz rocks and gold ore in quartz, burning them in a fire and dropping them into a bucket of cold water softens them and also keeps them from getting very dusty while you're crushing them. And you don't want to breathe the dust from quartz. I told you that before, because you get an illness called silicosis or silicanosis or something like that. It's from the silicosis. That's what it's from silica. The dust that comes off of the quartz is silica, and that gets into your lungs, and it ain't no good. It causes your lungs to bleed. So if you burn it first and dump it into water, you go from like a number 9 hardness of the rock to like a number 2.5 to 3. So it gets much, much softer, and it's much easier to crush, and it takes less wear and tear on all of your tools. But when you cook them in a fire, you got to have a way of getting them out of there and dropping them in the bucket of cold water. So that's what these tongs are for. So I can reach over, grab a rock. The big rocks will go in here. The smaller rocks just pick up with the tips. Drop them in a cold bucket of water. When they're cool, I can take them out of there and finish crushing them up. And then I can pan them out and get my gold out of there. Because when I figure that there's gold around, I yell out, "Hey, you!" You get it? Hey, you! I know, sometimes I just crack myself up. So, that was today's project. After I took care of the stand and went to town and checked mail and had to get another bag of dog food. And Sherry, the secretary, had sent me one. Right, with all these big dogs now, dog food goes really, really fast. If anybody else out there can help me out with that, please do. I really appreciate it. You could either send me a gift certificate to some place or whatever, or even if you have coupons, if you find coupons in your local newspaper for international or national stores that have a good discount. Now, I don't like paying more than maybe $20 a bag for dog food, and all I buy is the kibble. I don't buy cans. I don't buy the wet foods or anything like that. They just get the dry kibble. Their favorite is chicken and rice, but every now and then I mix some with the beef in there, or some with the pork flavor, and they don't seem to mind. They wolf it all down, because when they get hungry, they're just going to eat. That's all there is to it. All right, so got that stuff done. That's another project behind, and I did some work in the garden earlier. Got some rosemary plants because I had a mouse in there that ate all of the damn, except for one, ate all of the damn pears that were set on my pear tree. And they were only little tiny marbles, but that damn thing ate them anyway. And I know it ate them because they didn't just fall off, because they're not on the ground around the bottom of the tree. It got up there and ate the suckers. And I had left 8 pears on that tree and 3 Fuji apples. And I got 1 pear left on the tree. Now, I did set a rat trap out there, and I did catch a mouse in it. My neighbor was down here the other day with me, and when we went over to check a lady's garage door, the header on the garage door, she said somebody hit it and broke it, but that wasn't what it was all about. It had just warped, twisted, and cracked, and somebody had already put a scab plate of plywood over it to hold it in place. And that wasn't a problem at all, but the springs on her garage door, one of them was broken, and the other one was trying to carry the weight of a double size single but a double width garage door. And it was hard to lift that, because for those of you who don't know, when you've got an aluminum roll-up door and you've got the springs are set properly on it, you should be able to raise and lower that door with 2 fingers. All right. And this took me and my neighbor 2 hands and our grunting muscles to get that door up. And then I noticed from the inside on the right-hand side, the idiot who put the garage door in, instead of shooting the lag bolts into the 2x4, he shot them in between the two 2x4s. So the thing went in there, and instead of grabbing wood, it just spread the 2x4s apart enough to let the lags in. So the lags were all pulling out of there. So she asked me if I could fix it. I said, no, I don't have the tools for those springs, and those springs have to be released before any of this work can be done. So call a garage door company. It won't cost much. A couple of $100, probably. They'll come out and they'll loosen the springs on there, replace the springs. Don't replace just one broken spring if you have that. You got to replace both springs. You'll have unequal pressure if you don't. They replace both springs, and then while they've got it down, they can pull all the lags on that other side there and reset them into the 2x4s like they should be. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Well, that's about it, everybody. I'm not going to take you down to the garden and show you what I did down there. I'll show you that in another time. This is G Bear, thanking you for joining me and signing off.